Hey everyone, Danielle Fitzpatrick Clark here, #1 best-selling author, online marketing strategist, and dream client attraction specialist. That is my go-to. So today is day 1 of the challenge, of my 5-day challenge. So thank you for being here. And today what we're going to talk about, what is a no-brainer buy? What is a no-brainer product? And also, how can you create one quickly? So if you guys, even if you haven't been in business for long, this is a really good challenge for you to get started on. Make sure that you're saving these emails and you are saving all the content that I'm delivering on this. You are going to see some download PDFs here, some buttons to download those. I'll explain those more as the video goes on. But this is all going to help you guys move your business forward in a way that is really helping your business have a strong foundation, and in a way that is going to not just serve you, but serve the people that you are going to be helping and you're going to be working with. So today, I'm going to talk to you, what is a no-brainer buy? So a no-brainer buy, a no-brainer product, is something that your ideal clients absolutely needs, and it's not even a second thought that they're gonna get it, that they're gonna sign up for it. And a lot of people ask me, well, how do you actually create those? How do you create, and how do you know that this product is going to sell? Because we're not mind readers, right? We don't know. We don't know exactly what people need. But there are ways to figure that out. There are ways to do some market research. So anything that your ideal client needs, that absolutely needs, that is a solution to their problem, is a no-brainer buy. So I'm going to jump right in here for you guys. What is it that you need to do? What is it that you need to know in order to create a no-brainer buy? Well, the first thing that you need to know is you need to know who you are as a business owner. Yeah, yep. I know most people are like, wait, I don't go out and do market research. No, you know who you are first. Who you are, what is your purpose, and what is it that you want to deliver to the world, and who is it that you want to serve? That's the first part. Because if you don't have clarity on who you are as a business owner or what your business is, how are you going to be able to identify who your ideal client is? So first and foremost, know who you are as a business owner. And if you're kind of stuck on that, if you're not sure, well, who am I as a business owner? Think about what it is that you value most. Do you value freedom? Do you like having the laptop lifestyle, for example? That's something that I love to have. I love to have my laptop lifestyle. I like to be working at home, so freedom's a big one. Do you enjoy success? Do you want to have success in your business? Is that part of your values? There's a whole bunch of other areas that you can kind of play into a little bit when it comes to your values. Some people really they're here because they want to help. They really want to help people in a niche that they're knowledgeable in. So dig in deep to that one and decide, okay, what are my values? What is it that I really want to do? And a lot of times it's not exactly the surface, the scratching the surface, that really is defining why we're in business. A lot of times people say, well, I want, and I work with a lot of moms because I'm a mom, and I was there before, where I just really wanted to work from home. I really wanted a home-based business so that I could be there for my children. That felt like a very powerful why during the time. And as I progressed, as I expanded as a business owner, as I expanded my business, I found out that really I wanted to help people through any issues that they were having in being visible and showing up and speaking their voice. So that is kind of why I work on visibility with my clients, because I've worked on it for myself. It's been really challenging for me to stand up and be visible. And I also know how important it is for me to show up and express myself honestly. That's just something that is really core for me. Like, it's a really core thing. I know that I like to speak the truth, and I like to speak my truth, and I don't like to sugarcoat, even though I'm very gentle with my approaches. Most of the time I'm very gentle, but if I have something to say, I really do work myself up to a place where I can actually say it. It's been a long road for me to do that. So I know that part of what I want to do is to help people be more comfortable with who they really are and attracting those dream clients and attracting that tribe. So that is the first step, to really get comfortable with that. The second one is to know who your ideal client is, who you really want to work with. And that is normally, for most people, it's a version of you. There's a lot of different versions of you, you know, from past, present, and future. And your ideal client, you have something in common with them in most cases. I don't want to say every case, because sometimes people are just like, no, I help people that I've never been through what they've been through. It does happen, but that's what their education is in. So in most cases, the people that you want to help are some version of you or some version of you in the past. So to make this a little bit easier for you guys, I have attached to this page my ideal client profile builder. And what we're doing with this is that we're really going in much deeper. If you guys haven't downloaded it yet, I really encourage you to do that. If you have downloaded it and you haven't filled it out, I encourage you to fill it out. You're going to find that when you do this ideal client profile builder, you're digging in super deep to what it is that makes your ideal client tick. What are their thoughts? What are their problems? What are their pain points? This is so important when you're trying to put out there a no-brainer buy product or service. You have to know who it is that you're speaking to and what is their pain point. Now, there's another step to this that I'm going to tell you guys, because I really want you to have huge success with this 5-day challenge. I want you to take this and run with it. The next thing is that once you've identified who your ideal client is, or maybe you've even matched them with somebody that you're already working with. Maybe your ideal client, maybe you're already working with them. I know I definitely work with my dream clients all the time. And the next step is, after you have identified that ideal client, or maybe you have actually just talked about one of your current clients who is an ideal client, it's time to do some research. Yes, the playbook will help you identify. Let's take it the next step and let's do some research. So you have an ideal client playbook. You want to start interviewing people who fit that description. You want to jump on the phone with them or email them. So how do you do that? First things first is, if you already have that ideal client in your business, you're working with them, you want to go to them first and say, okay, hey, can you tell me, I'm doing a little bit of research. I really want to create a wonderful product for my ideal clients. You're definitely one of them. You know, first things first, what are some of the major problems that you have been working through that I have been helping you? So if it is someone that you have been working with, ask them what was one of their big pain points and how you helped them through it. A lot of times you're going to find that what you do, how you help them, isn't necessarily what you think it is. Your ideal clients, the ones that you're working with, are going to have a different perception of what it is that you offer than you do. And in most cases, they're going to tell you that you do even more than what you thought you did. So you're not just getting what you think your value is, you're understanding what they think your value is. And that's so important when you're creating no-brainer buys. Not only because you get to identify with your ideal client now and then put that out there for more ideal clients, but you also get to own the value that you bring that's beyond what you thought it was. So what happens if you don't have an ideal client and you're still searching for one? That's okay. You absolutely can identify who your ideal client is before you know someone like that in person. So once you've identified who they are and you want to do some extra research, think about what are some of the areas, where are some of the places where this ideal client would be? Most of the time, I'm finding in the online industry that our ideal clients are online. So you can start there. There's also room for local reach out. So I'm trying to think, if you're a health coach, for example, I use this one a lot because I work with a lot of health coaches too. But let's just say that you're a health coach and you're looking for a specific person who is who is really looking to to bust through emotional eating. So you've identified your ideal client, they're emotional eaters, and you've identified what their triggers are. And maybe they're a busy mom too. Maybe they're a busy mom. And so you have ideal clients, they're a mom, they're emotional eaters, they recognize that they have a problem, they have no idea how to find a solution. So how do you find someone that you can test with? So here's something you can do, is that you can come up with a survey and reach out to where they would be. So if you're a health coach looking for emotional eaters that are moms, where do the moms hang out? You know, they hang out at playgrounds, they hang out at on meetup groups, they hang out, which is on meetups.com. They hang out on mommy groups on Facebook. They're on Pinterest. That's a big social media one. Maybe they're going to your local gym that you go to. Maybe you just reach out to friends and family and say, hey, you know, this is kind of a touchy subject, but I'm looking for any kind of feedback, or anyone you know who may be interested in helping me do some market research. And if you're really struggling with trying to get some people in, then you can always offer something to them for free for helping you out. Maybe you give them a free session, maybe a free strategy session. Hey, you know what? I'm going to spend 30 minutes helping you if you spend 30 minutes helping me and going through the survey, or even 10 minutes. So if you're looking for a place to create a survey, just so you know from a technical aspect, you can do that online with surveymonkey.com. That's a great one. If you have Gmail, you can go into G Drive and create surveys there too, under Google Docs. So there are some options for you if you're looking for a survey. If you're really struggling and you have a really niche market and you don't know anyone who can help you with that, then here's what I would suggest for you guys to get that market research in. There's a lot of online surveys that you can create, fun ones. You know, those fun ones where like, what's your archetype? And they're very specific. So if you are not able to do any market research because you can't find your ideal client, it's so niche and you don't know anyone that can help you do that, you can create an online quiz that's fun, and then you can create Facebook posts to get that quiz out there, because quizzes are fun. People will do that. It's market research, and you're also giving them information on themselves and doing lead generation. So if all else fails, that's what I would recommend doing. Okay, ideal client playbook, market research. Now, what do I do with that information once I have it, right? How do I create a no-brainer buy? So this is where you really get to take that observation place. What is it that people are saying? And however you're gathering your market research, what is the thing that keeps repeating itself? So let's go back to being a health coach. And what keeps repeating for people who are emotional eaters? Well, you know, I keep on all of my surveys, on everything that people have said to me, it seems that most people are eating when they're really stressed out. Oh my gosh, they are specifically having a hard time during the holidays. Who knew? Who knew? The holidays are so challenging for emotional eaters and stress eaters. Okay, well, luckily, all year long, there are holidays. There are holidays. So, you know what? I can create a no-brainer buy before every holiday. Or even better, I can create a no-brainer buy to help people through any holiday. I could get even more specific, like want to stop emotional eating in its tracks when mother-in-law comes in. You could make it that specific. So what I want to tell you guys when it comes to a no-brainer buy is you know who your ideal client is, you've done the research, now you want to be very specific. If it's a no-brainer buy, then you want to be very specific with what you're helping them with. If it feels like you have something specific, put it out there. So let's just say, okay, I want to do emotional eating for the holidays. Great, you have a 4-week program for emotional eating traps during the holidays. Okay, can you make that more specific? Is there any way that you can make that more specific? Well, yeah, there's 3 ways I can make it more specific. So I encourage you to take that topic and see if you can make it specific into 3 different categories. So maybe one of the categories for health coach with emotional eating during the holidays is emotional eating for moms during the holidays, since moms are your ideal client and they seem to be having the most trouble. Maybe you even categorize it more like emotional eating tips and tricks during Christmas. So there's another category that you can have. And then maybe your third one is emotional eating tips and tricks during that time of month. Maybe that, because you're specific to ideal clients of moms, so maybe that happens during that time of month. So you've categorized it down 3 ways to make it even more specific. And when you do that, the rich is in the niche. I know people say this all the time, but it's so true. It's so true. Marketers say it for a reason, because it's true. So that's what you do. Ideal client playbook. You do your research. You figure out exactly what are the problems, and then you niche it down as much as you possibly can. And that's a no-brainer buy right there. And that not only is going to set you up for getting more clients, and you're going to get very specific clients who are ideal for you to work with. So nice, yeah, that's all great information, Neil. I love that. So how do I create one? How do I create an offer? You've told me the what to do. Now, how do I do this? Okay, so now you get to decide, once you've niched everything down, once you know who you're working with, what's the best platform for you to deliver this information. And if it's information based, then yeah, that's a product. Information based products are their PDFs, their one-on-one calls, their group calls, their handouts, their checklists, their menus for health coaches out there, their menus. There could be video modules, training modules. They could be email sequences. There's so many things where it's information. So an information-based product is any information that you're giving people. So that's one area that you can create in. Another area is more the education piece, and the education is for kind of those longer products, the ones that are more than 4 weeks, that are more like 10, 12, even 6 months, 10, 12 weeks, even to 6 months, or even 12 months. Educational ones are more about the transformation. So when we think about information versus education, information is stuff that you're giving them to kind of work through on their own. Now, education, you are teaching them, but you're also invested in them for the long term. It's kind of like if you're going to college, if you're giving not a class in college, but several classes. So it's more of a concentration. So if you are really looking for your products to be information, then those are shorter period of time products, or they're products that you deliver in a module platform where they can kind of teach themselves. It's information. They get that information. With those ones, we'll talk about pricing a little bit differently. We'll talk about pricing and how to be specific for information products versus the educational ones. So information is stuff that you give them and they kind of learn on their own, or you kind of assist them. The education ones are when you're in it for a little bit of a longer period of time, and it's about the transformation. It's about how you're not just teaching them, you're giving them hands-on information, you're going into depth and really, below the surface stuff that you're not just educating, but you're holding their hand too. So coaching programs are perfect for educational products. Anything that, like I said, anything that's more like 10 weeks, 10, 12 weeks, or even 6, 12 months. And this is stuff that it's not easy for them to learn on their own. It does take some hand-holding. A great example is if I was teaching someone how to okay, right. So I was teaching someone how to do the whole prospect cycle. So I would have to teach them how to not only to identify who their ideal client is, where they are. We would do a whole marketing plan on that, but we would also do sales funnels, and we would go through copywriting, content writing, so that we can really engage those prospects, take them through the whole sales cycle process, and get them to be paying clients. Now, that's not something that I could just teach in one setting or even in 4 weeks. It's pretty in-depth, and it does take a lot of back and forth to figure out if the messaging's right, if you have actually chosen the right ideal client for the products that you want to create, if your products look good, if the delivery of the products looks good, if the platform of the products looks good, and then we're testing and tweaking as we go through. That's an educational process. That's more of a coaching program. So, which is what I do. So I hope that helps. So if you're looking for products to create quickly, even if they are information and education, how do you create those products quickly? Well, the first thing that I recommend that people do is they go back and see what they already have for information. This is for both your information-based products and your educational ones. You need it all. So go back and see what you already have. If you don't have anything, then you're going to be doing some content creation, and that I would definitely say, okay, you're going to need some time to build it out. So break it down into sections. What do you need to start with creating, and how can you create it, and really break that down? Can you bring people in before it's all done? Most of the time you can bring people in before you've created your whole course load. So it's kind of a step-by-step basics. If you can create it quickly, that is because you have some of that information already created in your platforms, or something close to it that may need some tweaks. So that's how you create it quickly. Also, if this is more of an educational product, do you absolutely have to create content for it? Do you have to create more content? Or are you going to be teaching people from your knowledge base? It's very interesting, because I was talking to my father today, for example, and he's an educator. He was a principal. He was my principal, and a superintendent. And now he's partially retired, and he's doing contract work. He's a carpenter too. That's kind of what he did before he was an educator. He was a carpenter, and he did that. And he has a massive knowledge base. So he absolutely has this massive knowledge base that's just ingrained in his head. So he wouldn't necessarily, if he was deciding, like, you know what, I'm going to teach carpentry, or I'm going to educate them, I'm going to do a coaching program on carpenters and how they can build camps, for example, build camps on a lake, because that's kind of what he does. So would he have to create content specifically for that, or could he possibly just talk to people and kind of go step by step by step by step? Chances are, because he's he's been doing it for a very long time, it's ingrained in him, he can just actually speak it without having to create all this content. So another way to create this quickly is if you have a coaching program, you don't necessarily need tons of content to get it started, because everything's kind of in your head. You could create something very quickly where you're starting people off with a module, and you're just speaking into it, and you're just going step by step by step on things. And that doesn't take very long at all if you're absolutely an expert in your field. So let's just say that you're an expert in certain areas and you want to do this big coaching program. Okay, well, let's break that down a little bit so that you are really teaching the things that you know best. Creating a program off of the things that you know best, that you can just speak verbatim right into a camera, right into a group program, and still help people have massive success. That's a way to create a no-brainer buy that is quick and easy to do. And what you're doing when you are selling that is you're talking about the value, and you're talking about your expertise and how you're going to help them with that solution. So that's how you can create one quickly. If you really want to have some handouts and stuff and do that quickly, there's a couple ways you can do it. If you're a fast typer, create some checklists that go along with what you're going to be teaching, some outlines of what you're going to be teaching. Write those out. If you're not quite a quick typer, but you speak so wonderfully, because we all have different ways of learning, we all have different ways of speaking and how we present information the best. And so I would recommend, for those of you who maybe aren't strong typers, or you're not strong writers, to instead speak into a camera or an audio system and then have that transcribed. You can also buy audio platform, the transcription stuff like Dragon. That's a good one. You could speak right into a microphone and have it transcribed for you. and then just go through and correct any mistakes that come through. And that could be your PDF handout where you're just speaking and then it's done. And that's very quick to kind of do an outline, do some checklists, and then you have that information available very quickly. So yes, this is kind of a high level. We're just going to be talking about for today, we're just going to be talking about how to do those no-brainer buys, how you can do them quickly, and also we're going to be continuing on with some of the ways that you can break this all down to make it and showcase the value of it. But we're not going to go into that today. Today, what I want you guys to focus on is really, understanding who you are as a business owner, what your values are, what it is that you want to create, and who you want to work with. Work on that ideal client playbook. That is one of the PDFs that you can download underneath this video. So really hone in on that and make sure that you're leaving space in that ideal client playbook for pain points and what it is that's bothering your ideal clients the most. What is it that's a huge pain for them that you want to absolutely identify in the playbook? And then I want you guys to take it a step further and start doing some market research. Who can you reach out to that is an ideal client? Or maybe you don't have anyone who's an ideal client, but you can do that next step with asking people that you know, if they know anyone, showing up where your ideal client may be, offering some free complimentary calls in exchange for them helping you do market research. I see that on Facebook groups all the time. And if you're really stuck, then I would really suggest doing an online quiz where you're asking questions and it's fun, making it fun and interactive, and then posting that out and getting the word out, doing Facebook ads. So, and then even if you have an ideal client that you can talk to, or someone knows someone, or you put it out there in Facebook groups and you get people in, that's not a bad idea to do some lead generation tactics that way too. So that's what I'm telling you guys to do, or excuse me, not telling you guys, but that's what I'm encouraging you guys to do here for day one of the challenge. And once you've identified that, then you can really start picking apart, okay, well, this seems to be the biggest pain point, and oh my gosh, I just verified that by interviewing people who are ideal clients. And now it's just a matter of, great, so now I have this broad idea of, or not even a broad idea, it could be pretty niche, of what my ideal clients want. And how can I break that down even more, niche that down even more? So that's actually 4 things I'm telling you guys to do. And of course, that will be in the email, just telling you guys what your homework is. And the PDF for the playbook is there for you guys to download and work with. So please let me know if you have any questions. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, Get More Clients Now, you will also have a link to get into that. I will be answering questions there. I have had a few people pose questions on products. They weren't able to jump into day one, but they did have some questions on how to create products. I will be going on and doing some Facebook Lives and speaking specifically to Q&A on, okay, well, this is the product idea I have, Danielle, what do you think? And I'm going to go through some case studies and also a couple of other things. Not really long, 10 minutes tops, guys, but come in and get some information on that, on how to create no-brainer buys, and seeing me break down one person's idea for a no-brainer buy based on what information they gave me. So I hope that helps. I'm here for you guys, and look out for day 2 tomorrow. Bye, everyone.